Welcome to Absolute Counter, episode 18.
Absolute Remake.
Hello, and welcome to another quarantined episode of Absolute Counter. This is Darkscream.
I'm not that quarantined. This is Megas, though.
No, I'm not either. My day-to-day life isn't really that much affected, except for the fact that, life, it's just, it is a pretty bum past month or so. But I am trying to get my head. I am trying to keep my head up. I know I usually do live streams now called We've Been Talking, and yeah, I think I went on a couple of rants about the quarantine and how people are handling and shit. And there are people in the comments section. Thank you guys for telling me to cheer up and keep my head up, especially Death by Yete, aka Son of Ifrit. Shout out to him. But see, I didn't ask for any Q&As for this one. I just want to have a casual 20-minute conversation because I'm pretty sure we still have a lot more to talk about before we actually move into our subject matter. I have a couple news stories that we can talk about.
Okay.
So, when April rolled around, I was still feeling super shitty about this whole quarantine pandemic and how I'm worried that the small businesses I like to support might go under and all that shit.
Right.
The first thing I wake up to on my phone is actually some pretty exciting news, and gaming-wise at least. For me personally, is that Trails of Cold Steel 4 got announced for Western localization.
Hey!
Yeah.
For me too, motherfucker!
Yeah, but did you finish the third game yet?
Not yet.
There's a reason why I'm more excited for the third game than you are.
Well, yeah, but still.
Because of how it ended. But here's the thing that's really funny about this story. I felt so good about it that I completely forgot they posted it on April 1st. So when I was rummaging through the comment section on Twitter and Facebook, 90% of the comments are, is this a prank? Are you fooling us? Is this a joke? And and NISA literally had to type it and come in and say, this is not a joke. We do plan to release this game this fall, sometime in the fall. We have.
Oh shit!
You can pre-order limited editions off of the website right now, which I did, and so yeah, that was the other bit of good news.
I wanted to say something about this real quick. I would rebuy those games only if we have all 4 episodes on the Switch.
Yeah, they did. They are planning for the 4th game to come out next year on Switch.
Right, but they don't have the first 2.
That's because Xe holds the license to them.
Oh,
as well as Trails in the Skies 1 through 3.
Oh fuck!
Are they going to localize them? I don't know. Should they? Yeah, they should.
Yeah, for the Switch. I mean, you have a whole Look, the Switch is a pretty good JRPG machine as it is.
Yeah. And I don't know why Xe wouldn't do that. I would be printing money for them. Since those games are actually kind of blown up in popularity now, and I don't know. I don't like Xe nowadays. They've become like a poor man's shadow of their former selves.
Yeah. You don't hear as much.
Exactly. There is some bad news, though, but bad news for anyone excited for this game. Personally, I didn't care, but Last of Us 2 got delayed indefinitely.
No, not joking. I have to do that. I don't. Dude, you know what? People who say that first game is one of the deepest stories ever, you haven't played a lot of fucking games.
Really? Tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell me how you really feel. I haven't played Last of Us. I don't care that much. I had friends who played it who say they loved it. I also heard reviews that saying, yeah, the story's great, but the gameplay sucks. And I just wasn't compelled to give the game a try. But if you know more than I do, let me know.
The story is good.
Oh, okay.
It's good. It's good, but it's not the best story ever. I mean, if you're like me and you've played older Metal Gear titles or fucking... Let's see, what else can I say? Or I'm trying to think of games around that length. Oh, Spec Ops: The Line.
You know of that game.
Yes, I think it's brilliant, dude.
I'm actually surprised you did, considering your adamancy of giving shooters a try.
Well, here's the thing, and speaking of which, I have been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare a little
Oh,
bit. The Warzone, it's kind of fun, but I'm not playing it like all the time.
all right.
But
But
anyway, I like Spec Ops: The Line because it deconstructs that genre.
yeah, it's basically Apocalypse Now as a shooter. I love it. Game's great.
Yeah, and that's the thing is is it's not fair to compare that game to say a JRPG. Maybe that's what I was doing, but there are a lot of games of that length that can tell better tales, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Uncharted 4, which is made by the same fucking developer, tells a better story than that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
God of War, maybe, the new one. Which I haven't
Oh,
played.
I got some bad news.
What's the bad news?
Voice actor Rick May passed away.
Who's
He
he?
he voices the soldier in Team Fortress 2. Now, I believe he had throat cancer at the time because Team Fortress 2 had like this like 20-minute short that came out where everyone thought they were dying, and the scout wanted to date this one woman, so he was trying to get advice from the spy. It was a really funny skit, but they had to fight like a giant bread loaf monster because the soldier kept using it to using the bread to like teleport or something.
Mm.
And there was a point where the soldier screams, "I teleport bread," and you can clearly tell that's Nolan North voicing him, and instead of the usual guy. Like
Oh,
he
shit.
sounded exactly like Nathan Drake when he said that. So,
Oh.
and he also voices Peppy from Star Fox 64,
Oh.
and oh, he also voiced Andros as well.
Huh. That's too bad.
And he passed away, unfortunately, due to the coronavirus.
Uh, well, that's the way it goes.
Wow, way to sandbag that.
I know.
Okay. Um,
Well, you know how well, look, what do you want me to say? I don't really know the guy
I know, but
that
you at
well.
least know his work.
To a degree, I just Star Fox 64.
And it's kind of proof that we shouldn't be taking this pan. Look, like I get that the media is trying to like overhype it, but at the same time, it shouldn't be something that's underestimated.
Let me say something. Nah, I don't want to get into it. It would derail us.
Yeah, you're right.
Nah, well, nah. I don't. Yeah, let's try to keep this Corona free if you don't mind.
All right. Well, all right
Unless
then.
it's like virus or something.
Let's move on to our weeks then. I won't get
Okay.
into gaming yet, even though my gaming isn't really that special. Obviously, for the past couple of weeks, whenever I have the free time, I've been playing Doom Eternal. But before I want to get into that, I watched more of Dark Side of the Ring.
Ooh.
Specifically, the episodes that came after the Benoit episode was The Life and Crimes of New Jack.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, and
Holy shit.
they actually got New Jack himself to be interviewed in all this shit.
The the mass transit incident. Now,
Mass
you know what?
transit, the time where he tried to like get revenge on another wrestler because he botched the throw, cracked his skull, so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna throw him off the scaffold and make it look like an accident, kill him. The time where he straight up stabbed a dude.
Holy shit.
I don't know if you saw that
Yeah, I
story.
saw that one.
Okay, D'Lo Brown and Jim Cornette didn't before this interview. You actually get to see their live reactions when they saw the footage.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You- I got to say something about that episode. Mass transit. Yeah, New Jack may have gone too far, but I put blame on the kid's parent and the
I
kid himself.
I do too. I put partial blame on them as well, because they were obviously bullshitting about everything, and
And the kid. Oh, go ahead.
and yeah, and it was ECF and W of all places. One of the last places you want to go in wrestling in general. Look, ECW is fun and all, but wouldn't want to work there. Because A, you were
Yeah.
getting injured a lot, and B, you weren't getting paid that much, which is not a good mix in your life in the long run of things.
Nope.
But yeah, That was pretty brutal. I know they were trying to vilify New Jack more, but to be honest, I do put blame on him as well.
Yeah. I didn't. Now, don't spoil the one from last week because I haven't watched it.
Oh no, well, but that was it. I want to talk to you more about last week. I don't want to spoil everything. I just wanted.
What was last week?
It was the Brawl for All.
Okay, I gotta watch that one. I know. I saw Brawl for All when it
But
happened.
here's something I want to tell you.
What?
You talk about how Cornette is too hard on Russo.
Right.
Russo and Cornette were interviewed about this event, as well as Jim Ross and Bart Gunn, the guy who won the whole thing and got nothing for it. This doubles and triples down the justification of Cornette's hatred of Russo, because Russo in that entire episode just came off as a smug idiot and a prick. He was a punchable dude.
Let me correct something. I am not a Russo supporter. What I said was he just needs to not obsess over it. But then again, I could do that too with a certain someone. But that's beside the point, though.
But
I agree. Russo is not a very good creative person, though, and
But yeah, this just completely cements Cornette's justification why he just always acknowledges him. He doesn't even call him by name anymore on his podcast. He always calls him shit stain. But yeah, the Brawl for All episode. God, Dark Side of the Ring. I'll pick that shit up on Blu-ray if it comes with a good amount of features. I'd say if you can find it on YouTube, I've actually had to watch it by other people uploading the episodes because the only ones Vice officially upload were the 2-part Benoit stuff.
which is good.
Because I don't really watch a whole lot of cable television nowadays. But yeah, Brawl for All, great episode. I don't even know what they're going to air next. I'm hoping something just as good because this season of Dark Side of the Ring is so far looking to be their best.
All of season 1 is on there too, by the way.
And another set of good news is High Score Girls season 2 came out.
I haven't watched it yet.
I have seen there were only 9 episodes, so you can easily digest through it. But I have seen through all of it. I plan to do a quick review, but to be honest, I don't know what I can say because second verse same as the first. I love the first season. I love the OVAs that came out last year. And this season is still going pretty damn strong. I don't know what to say. More of the same thing I've said last time. The animation is probably a little bit better than the first seasons now.
You know what? I will watch that, but I got Funimation now, and I dig it. There's a lot of good stuff. Watching through Dragon Ball Z, my kid and I are watching Tokyo Ghoul, which isn't bad, pretty good. I'm finally watching Eureka 7. My fiance and I we watched Escaflowne, which is a good one.
Oh, that's there?
Yeah.
Damn.
You could get 14 days free.
I think I used it up when I watched Danganronpa 3.
Okay, they have those on there too. They have a ton of shit, man. They have some really good. They have a lot of old school stuff they've been adding lately.
I know. It's just that I'm just not ready to get another subscription service.
I gotcha. Well, you know what? I try out a bunch of them and I rarely keep them, but this one I definitely will keep.
I've been just sticking with Verve and High Dive. High Dive, has fucking Armor Trooper Votoms and Pat Labor, so that's great.
Whoa. High Dive, you say?
Yeah. The Sentai Filmworks streaming service.
How much is that?
$5 a month.
High Labor.
And it has Pat Labor. It has the movies, the TV series, and the OVA. I don't know if it has the second season OVA, the one that was in the mid-90s or something. But I know it has the movies. And I do need to finish the OVAs before I can watch the movies, which I heard were phenomenal. At least the first 2. The third one wasn't, but I'm still going to watch it anyways.
High Dive. I kept putting high something.
Yeah, HIDIVE. They have Votoms. I want to say they have Royal Space Force. They also have a good amount of new stuff, like Golden Time, Amagi Brilliant Park, stuff that are currently airing that I can't remember because I don't watch a whole lot of anime that's currently airing. And when I do, it's a rare thing. Like the new Digimon reboot. I've been watching that.
Is that good?
It's weird when you compare it to the original series because stylistically, it is exactly the same as the original adventure. I mean, all the character designs are almost unchanged, but it takes place in 2020 with modern technology, so they're rolling in more with that. And the first story arc is loosely based off of the War Game OVA special that was in the first Digimon movie, the one with Diaboromon. And Diaboromon has like Ava Unit 1 colors now.
Oh shit!
Yeah, but I'm still willing to give it a keep giving it a watch. Cause
I will definitely watch it.
Mm-hmm. All right, and let's see. Was there? Oh yeah, Doom Eternal.
Yes.
Great game. Streamed it twice. I can kind of see why, according to Pat from Castle Super Beast, saying that it's actually more of a character action game. Because it is very, yeah, I know. You don't just shoot. You have to, like, use a flamethrower. You have to melee kill. You build up a meter for punches. So if you can punch an enemy, you can, like, do a lot of damage and cause a shockwave near them. The game is bigger, faster, and more intense than Doom 2016, and I love it. A lot of people say the platforming's not all that great. And while I do think the platforming in Titanfall 2 is a little bit better because you can run slide in that one, I didn't really have any issues with it personally.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Also, we're getting more and more of Doom Guy's backstory, so that's fun.
Oh, it's got more story in it?
Oh, yeah. And it gets crazy. And you can play the original Doom 1 and 2 on like a weird Windows 95 computer in his office.
Oh, shit.
For Doom 1, you actually have to collect cheat codes in the game, which are represented by floppy disks that he collects, and you can replay the stages with those cheat codes activated. For Doom 2, you just have to type a password in, the password being Flynn Taggart, which is a nod to the Doom novels. And the quality of those Doom games are pretty hilariously bad, but for some reason, I still like to play Doom 2 on that whenever I'm just super bored.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, Doom's great. Doom's fantastic. Now, what have you been doing?
What have I been doing? Holy shit. Okay, I've been playing a lot of stuff. You know what? I bought Luigi's Mansion multiplayer pack. And man, if you could get at least 4 people, it's a fucking blast, dude.
Neat. How so?
Oh, it's just okay. So you've got a dodgeball game.
Oh,
like with me and my if you buy it, what it does is it adds it's only $10 for the season pass, and it adds 3 new multiplayer games, and it's only couch co-op, but who cares, right? And they add a river game where you're in little boats and you're collecting coins. There's another one where it's dodgeball. You basically suction in dodgeball and throw it at people, and it's fun.
awesome.
And here's the cool thing: you can play up to 8 people on that if you have 8 Joy-Cons. We played with 4, and it's fun. With 2, not so much. 3, not so much. But 4 is really what it gets.
Gotcha.
Because one of the key things too is there's a revive button. So if you get knocked out, you can revive your teammates, or they can revive you.
All right. Anything else? We're almost 20 minutes in, which means it's time to jump into our subject.
Oh, there's a lot, but what I've been mostly focused on is for our subject. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we might as well jump into it. This time, we're talking about video game remakes, which is a very interesting subject to begin with because, well, unlike film remakes, which usually most of the time it gets dumped on for not being respectful towards the original, blah, blah, blah. We all have seen this story before. Remakes with video games, most of the time, unless you're a nitpicky little fanboy, usually end up getting wildly praised and sometimes improving on the original game. Whether they improve the graphics, the acting, the gameplay, and it's still quite an experience. And it is fun as hell to play the original game and then compare it to what changes they made and improvements they made. But here's the thing. What constitutes as a remake?
Exactly. Well, I'll tell
Because
you what.
there's remakes, and then there's remasters, and then there's just re-releases, which is ports. That's not a remake. I don't even care if you spruce it up for 4K. That's not a remake.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I was going to say, because let's talk about this for a quick second. When you take, give me a game that's been remastered. Oh, we were just talking about Last of Us, right?
Right.
That's not a motherfucking, whatchamacallit, a remake. That is a remaster. Or what about when they were bringing in PS2 games for the PS4 and they were just upgraded to high def?
That would be a remaster still.
Exactly. And then of course you get into the topic of enhanced ports. So let's talk about those, because we did get a pretty big enhanced port, which I did get as well, and I haven't played it yet because I didn't. So I'm not talking about Persona 5 Royal. That's an enhanced port, not a remake. Some people are calling it a remake, but it's an enhanced port, basically the equivalent of a director's cut, right?
Right.
Okay, so one of the games I had to sell last fall that I got today, thanks to my lovely lady in my life, she got me Final Fantasy X-2 for the Switch. That's an enhanced port, not a remake. An enhanced port with extra features or extra story, like Persona 5 Royal or whatever.
And slight changes to the graphics, I believe.
Yeah, slight changes to the graphics as well, but it's not a remake.
No.
But what is a remake, though?
The original Resident Evil, going from that to the GameCube, that's a remake.
Yep, that was, ironically enough, that's a very...
Jumping from one console generation to the next one, they kept the story and characters the same, but they changed the entire look of the game, going from like a cheesy horror to actually something that's a little more dark and atmospheric. Graphics are redone to be improved, and of course the acting has changed as well, and they probably added and even retconned some things to be more consistent with elements that was added in lore in later sequels, which that's also a thing I'm seeing in ports, in enhanced ports, because another example would be the Crossbell arc in the Legend of Heroes Trail series. Nightman has showed me that they've actually added some elements from Trails of Cold Steels 1 and 3 into the Crossbell arc of the games now, which I thought was cool, because the game, prides itself in world building and introduce a bunch of characters who show up and appear in other games and stuff like that. So it makes sense for them to do that.
Right.
So
that's an enhanced port.
No, that's a yeah. The Crossbow arc games are the enhanced port. Resident Evil for the GameCube was a remake, and then everything that came after that, enhanced port of the remake.
Yep. There you go.
And of course, there was the Resident Evil 2 remake, which came out last year, which was phenomenal. Love the shit out of it. It was in my Game of the Year list, obviously.
Yep.
Resident Evil remake? I've heard mixed things about it.
I might get it when it price drops.
I've heard mixed things about it. I might get it when the price drops too. They changed a lot of things up and down about that game compared to the original that I wish they kind of kept.
Right.
Like Brad's demise and I don't know, the introduction. I thought they introduced Nemesis a little too early. And you know what? I actually like the FMV opening to the PS1 game a little more. A lot of people actually like the opening to the remake because it's scarier. But to be honest, the reason why it looks scarier is because it just happened to come out during this particular moment.
Oh.
Yeah, they were
gotcha.
The opening scene, I shit you not, in Resident Evil 3 remake. They were using live action footage of people talking about widespread riots and a fucking crisis and a pandemic.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and that's why people were like sweating bullets when they saw that opening cinematic.
Well, I'm sure it's solid in the very least. But remember,
here's another thing. You want me to keep going? Because there's another criticism, and this one, to me...
Okay, go ahead.
To me, this one is more important than, oh, you can't look up classic Jill's skirt. Oh, I don't even want to get into that. I've been through that when talking a couple weeks ago during my live stream. Um, Nemesis stops being a threat after 1/3 of the game.
Okay, that's bullshit.
He no longer like stalks you or anything after that. And I thought, wow, you put so much emphasis on him in the trailers to make us think that, especially considering that in Resident Evil 2 we had to deal with Mr. X, who they didn't even push that much in the remake trailers at all. They showed him like once or twice, but I didn't expect him to be a constant threat in the police station once he was introduced. It was actually a big surprise for me. I was like, okay, I'll just evade him in this area and then he'll stop following me. Here's heavy footsteps getting louder and louder. Oh shit, he can follow me here.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was the scariest fucking thing ever.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go back a little bit, okay?
I don't want to go back because there's another news story I kind of want to bring up, but I decided to save it for this subject matter because
No, not Resident Evil. I wanted to ask you a question about remakes, though.
But this is about remakes and Resident Evil.
I know.
Oh, well, okay. What's the question?
Okay, Mario Brothers 3. Was that game ever remade to you?
Ooh, that's a good question because you did this so you can bring up All Stars, did you?
Yup. And the GBA ports, which are also, even in their own way, different. They use different graphics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you that. Is making a 3D game is one thing, okay? That's a whole different beast. What about remaking a 2D game? Because with a 3D game, you have leeway for creativity, as I'm sure I will when I talk a little bit about Final Fantasy VII. But what about something like a Mario game?
Well,
or those Mega Man remakes on PSP. Remember those as well?
Okay, I can consider those remakes because they didn't just well, they jumped from 2D to 3. They went from 2D to 3D with the models.
Okay.
But they also added a little more things. They actually added like dialogues with the robot masters, all that shit. I consider that to be a remake.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What would you consider the All-Star games?
That's a good point. I mean, the only thing that was changed was the graphics and the music, obviously. But everything was exactly the same. Enemy placements, all the items. I guess you could say it's a remake.
Okay, but what about atmospheric changes? And there's one big difference in both the GBA and the All-Star versions differing from the NES version. Now, I have a fond spot for the NES version, obviously, but what about atmosphere? Because here's why I ask. When you're on the airships in the NES games, they're pretty tough, right? They're right, and they're pretty threatening. But when you play the All-Star versions or the SN or the GBA versions, there are massive lightning effects. The skies are more made to be more darker in nature and more threatening than the black screen in the original NES version. So when I feel like I play that version, I feel like, yes, it's the same level, but the atmosphere adds something that was missing. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. In fact, it goes back to what I was talking about with the original Resident Evil. Like, for example, like one particular level that sticks out to me was the dining room before you encounter the first zombie. In the original game, it was just a standard dining room, and I think it was pretty well lit. But in the remake, it wasn't lit at all, with the exception of the lights coming from the windows, and I believe it had a thunderstorm too, flashes of lightning, making it just creepier and scarier to just traverse through.
Okay.
So that's a thing about the atmosphere. And I'm sorry, we have to go back to this. There are rumors, and they are looking more and more true. I've heard about talk of this yesterday, that they're remaking Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
No, not okay.
Why not?
Resident Evil 4 is fine the way it is.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Okay, but let me tell you why. I think, okay, I'm not saying it's not fine. It's very playable, okay? It's still a good game.
Yeah, and it's a game that
But,
you can play everywhere.
okay, that's true, but let me finish real quick. The stop and aim, you gotta admit, that's a real dated, and I'm not the only one who has said that's a dated mechanic. You gotta admit, that's a dated mechanic. That was something that they carried over from the older Resident Evil games. Sure, 4 controls way better than those older ones. And I'm talking non-remake ones, right?
Right?
But I'm talking about the stop and shoot. Okay? Just imagine what they can do with that game in 2021.
I mean, yeah, it might be slightly better, but like I said, it just doesn't seem necessary. I mean, if the game really aged that bad, they wouldn't bother porting it 20 times over. I mean,
You're right about the port.
like, yeah, like the game aged just fine. Plus,
But
I'd rather them remake Code Veronica because that game desperately needs one because you could potentially improve that one.
okay, I can agree with that. I have said that. I would rather them do Code Veronica. But a 4 one, I wouldn't. Resident Evil 4. In my eyes, you know what? I'll be honest. Code Veronica is the real Resident Evil. Whereas Resident Evil 4 is Resident Evil 5, if that makes sense.
I think Code Veronica was supposed to be Resident Evil 3.
Oh, yeah, that's what I've heard.
And
yeah.
Resident Evil 3 was actually supposed to be a spin-off that was just simply called Resident Evil Last Escape. But I think some head publishers said, no, let's make this one a Resident Evil 3 so that way we can have like a consistent trilogy on one platform, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
But these are things I heard here and there from different podcasts, so I don't know how true this is. I haven't looked it up yet.
I've read that up. You're right about that information.
But yeah, Code Veronica is still kind of part of the main timeline because A, it's Claire and Chris, but and B, you know, a character who was thought to be dead came back from the dead, so it's pretty important in the storyline.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you're not happy with the Resident Evil 4, the other big rumor is that's not the only one being announced. Resident Evil 8 is supposed to be announced. And going back to the roots of what made 4, they're not going to do zombies. They're going to do those creatures.
Yeah, Resident Evil Village.
Yep.
That's a pretty alright title. If you can make the game just as scary as 7 at least.
Yeah.
Because that was it. I love Resident Evil 4, but that game never scared me once.
Yeah, that's another reason why you should, because there are things that I think the thing with 4 was it's a great game. But I think some of the stuff, there were moments that were scary, but not the whole game like the previous titles, right? For example, the guy with the chainsaw freaked me the fuck out. You know? But then there was if I remember, there's a scene underneath in the ventilations in the 4th one as well. But I agree that you could probably add some atmospheric stuff, you know?
I don't know. Although it seems weird. Like it's like there's like a conflict between what the fans want in Resident Evil versus what the publishers want, because they've been trying to push it to make it more action-y, and the more action-y they do it, the harder the fans reject it. Case in point with, you know, most of Resident Evil 5 and all of Resident Evil 6. And then I heard they made some action-oriented DLC for 7 that wasn't all that well received. Resident Evil 3 Remake was a little more action-oriented, and I'm seeing the reception not being as welcomed as Resident Evil 2. So I'm like,
right.
Just stick with being scary. You don't have to keep recycling zombies, that's fine, but like RE2 Make, the classic Resident Evil, and freaking 7 are great games, and they're scary as hell.
Right. You know what, though? I personally don't hate 5, though. I think 5's a great action game. Mind you, the key word, action game. There you go. Yeah. It's a great action game. That's the thing about it, is I think at that point, the problem wasn't necessarily Capcom looking for an action thing. They had already visited as much as they can with that material at that point, without it being at that point. The reason I think 7 was so much better in the atmosphere was they finally found a different approach which was the Silent Hill average guy approach, as opposed to, the classic cast: Chris, Jill, Barry, whatever.
Right.
So,
All right. Well, let's get off of Resident Evil. I just want to ask a quick question.
mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about Trials of Mana?
Yes, I do. I
Okay.
am okay. So we in April alone, we've gotten 3 remakes, right?
Right.
So 2 of them, ironically enough, is from Squaresoft, because it's Trials of Mana, I think, is kind of getting overshadowed by the other Square Enix, which came out this Friday, and that's Final Fantasy VII. I'll say this: it's fucking amazing. But let's talk about Trials real quick. So I played Trials a long time ago, and I'm one of those guys that I'm not trying to be a Japanese purist. I'm just used to calling it Seiken Densetsu 3, right?
Right.
Because now I own the Mana collection on the Switch, and I plan on getting this one. So it'll be fun to play. But it looks like this one looks like it has more story to it, and things like that. And let's not forget, this is not the first time Square has actually remade their game with more story and such. Remember, Final Fantasy VII, a lot of people forget, are acting like it's their first remake for that series. It's not, right?
No.
The first one was actually 3. And to be honest, the second one, which was 4, which I play on my phone every now and then, I like that port a lot.
Yeah, I played a little bit of the Trials of Mana demo because I have no experience with that game before, and from what I played, what little of it played, it was pretty fun. It was charming. I didn't sink enough time into playing the demo, which kind of my fault on my end, because I thought this would be a good talking point to bring up for on the subject, of course. But yeah, people, because Secret of Mana got remade a couple years ago, but I actually heard some harsh criticisms for it. Yet when I heard the rumblings of Trials of Mana, people were actually a little more hopeful and optimistic. Hopefully, those fans got what they wanted with that remake.
Well, that comes out at the end of in the 24th.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to touch that game either, because I want to say Sakura Wars is coming out then, and that's not a remake. That's more of a full-on reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different Sakura. It's not the same Sakura from the original series. That much I know.
Right.
It's a really good remake.
Hold on, I'm being summoned. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
I don't want to edit this out, so I'm just going to keep talking here. All right. And I'm not really talking all that much. But yeah, I have a lot of demos installed on my Switch and my PlayStation. Well, mostly my Switch. And I haven't really progressed through some of them. Some of them actually have like save states and stuff. So in case I do pick up the game, I can, continue from where I left off. Trials of Mana being a JRPG, not that different from that formula. There was also... Oh, he's back.
Yep, I'm back.
All right. So, you know what are some good damn remakes?
What are?
Yakuza Kiwami.
Yes, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent one. Those are both excellent ones, in fact.
Oh yeah.
Kiwami and Kiwami 2 are great.
Yes. See, and they are just they basically flat out replace, and that's another thing. If the remake is good enough, they could just replace the original, and you could do that with the original 2 Yakuza games, because they've improved the graphics, improved the gameplay, changes the story here and there to add more to the lore. And playing Kiwami, I never played the original Yakuza games before 0, so jumping from 0 to Kiwami in the same year was definitely an interesting experience. Mm-hmm. Because one of the main antagonists in Kiwami was the main character's old friend, and they never really went that much into detail in the original PS1 game on why he turned heel. But in this game, and you already kind of got attached to him because he was like a close friend of yours in Yakuza 0. But in this game, they actually, one of the things they added to this remake was they added extra cutscenes to show how he just got pushed to the edge.
Right.
Plus, they've added some more side missions, all that fun stuff. Now, Kiwami 2 is definitely a big oddball remake.
Yes.
Because they replaced like half of the cast exclusive to that game with like popular Japanese TV actors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
and that's usually not a big deal. But there was this one character who was supposed to be like a young 40-something-year-old dude, and he's played by an actor who's like in his fucking 60s.
Shit.
And it gets weirder. The design of that character from the original PS2 version actually kind of got recycled for the Majima section in the Majima section of the story as one of the characters in that arc, which I found rather really bizarre. But Kiwami 2 was a great game, and it was definitely an improved version of the engine they used in 6, which I love that engine a lot because you can like throw and punch people into like stuff and boxes and shit would just break all over.
Right.
I love kicking enemies into bicycle racks only to see bicycle parts just fly all over the damn place. And yeah, and those remakes were so loved that people wanted to see like, a Kiwami 3 and maybe a 4 and maybe a 5. And I'm like, I don't think we're ready for those yet. But we
got the remasters.
We got remasters, which I do need to fucking buy. I really do. Even though we are in a time where people just can't go to work, I don't have that kind of time, which is both a gift and a curse.
Mm-hmm. So I want to switch subjects real briefly. Do you know what the first remake I ever played was?
No. What was it?
It was in 1991 at the tender age of 7 when I first got my Game Boy. It's called Heiyankyo Alien. Now, that game was actually a remake of a game that was on a very primitive game on Japanese computers. And it's a very simple arcade-like game. In the original, it was it was a high-score game. You were in a little village, their aliens were invading your feudal Japanese town, and you dug them and trapped them in the hole, like, one of those games, right?
Right.
But they remade it. So what was cool was the Game Boy one came with both the classic and the original. But the difference with the classic and the remake. With the remake, they added some story elements. It had an ending. You chased off the aliens and stuff like that. And the aliens would do trippy things, like they would like fire fireballs at you that they didn't do in the original. But you could play the original as well.
Huh.
Yeah. It's not a bad game. I haven't played it in years. I'm curious on how it aged, but it's one of those things.
I do like it when they remake. One of the bonus features for a remake of a game is just to play the original it's based off of, and that's fine as long as they're able to keep everything, because I've seen some ports where they will always change something, whether it be for censorship or music licensing issues or whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what's a shitty remake?
What?
Turtles in Time Reshelled.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
The graphics weren't that impressive. The music felt like a poor man's discount version of the original arcade game. They used the arcade version as a basis for the game instead of the Super NES version, which was better because they had more levels and better boss battles and shit.
Well, let's put that in perspective. The Super NES had more content, but less audio bells and whistles. Like the theme song wasn't sung. You know what I mean, technically.
I know, but that's the thing. They could do that for a remake.
You know what I'm halfway tempted to do? I know this is horrible and waste of money. Buying the 1-up arcade machine of the Turtle. Holy shit.
I would understand if you bought that. There's a display of that thing at my nearby Walmart, and I actually did play it once out of boredom.
It's awesome, huh?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, it's using artwork from the original arcade with the weird April costume. It's beautiful. I actually like it. It's beautiful. But I wouldn't buy it because I see it as a giant waste of space in my room.
I gotcha.
You know what's a game I played that I didn't know was a remake until I looked it up?
What?
Corpse Party.
Oh, that's right. That's a big. Yep. That's a game you and I both enjoy highly.
Yeah, the first game at least. Yeah, that game.
Yeah, the first game.
The game was still great, but after researching it and turning out it's actually kind of is a pretty small franchise, and then finding out, oh no, it's actually a remake of this PC '98 game. What they did for the game that we have for the original Corpse Party was they changed the story completely. They added more characters, more chapters and segments. The full works.
Right.
So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that we were actually playing like a better version of something that existed back in the day. But I want to say there are fan translated versions of the classic Corpse Party game that were just somewhere to free download online. But is there any other examples of a game you played that was a remake that that you didn't know until afterwards?
That's one of them actually, because I wasn't aware of that. I think you and I discovered that game at the same time. Remember, we used to talk about it like 9 years
20.
ago in 2011, 2012. Remember that shit?
It was definitely around 2012.
Yeah, yeah. So, holy shit, it's been that long. But yeah, I don't know. I got to look up more because I know there's more video game remakes than we think there are. And of course, the big one I know I'm looking it up. Of course, Final Fantasy, the Shadow of Colossus that's on the PS4 for PlayStation Plus. That's a remake right now.
You were really? I thought that was a remaster. I didn't know that. Huh.
And then remember Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, and then Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby. They got remade too.
Yeah. Those count.
Cave Story.
Didn't play Cave Story.
There's also Castlevania the Adventure, and Castlevania the Adventure was remade on the Nintendo Wii.
Dude, Castlevania actually had a couple remakes. The Dracula X Chronicles.
Yeah, that's a remake too.
Yeah,
that's one I actually enjoyed.
I did play. I forgot what it was. I think it was called Mega Man X Maverick Hunter. It's a remake of the first one. I thought it was all right.
Oh, they recently remade Warcraft 3 too. Blizzard did.
Yeah,
but I heard that wasn't good.
Lowest rated game on Metacritic.
I heard that wasn't good.
Keep digging that hole, Blizzard. Keep digging. Oh, damn.
Yep. Yeah, I forgot about those Pokemon remakes.
Yeah, they're playing remakes. Some of them are good, some of them are forgettable.
Now we have to. I have to. I know we're running out of time, but I have to. Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, I was thinking about just ending the episode on Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, we're yeah. So let's just do that. Did you get it?
I've been semi on the fence. I know you're probably going to recommend getting it. I know everyone else is, but I might just get it down the line for a price drop or something.
Okay, well that's your prerogative, but my whole thing is I think it's a fucking masterpiece. You know I don't just jump in bandwagons. You know that about me.
No, you don't.
No. And apparently I'm on the bandwagon right now with that game. But holy shit, is it fucking great. Everything about it, like understanding story as I do now. Like the first one back in the day was amazing. But the way they padded it out and made those sections interesting, I'll give you a prime example. One of the things they did, this isn't really a spoiler, but showing Avalanche and the way they're perceived as a terrorist group by other people, and even some of their own members questioning it, adds so much depth to that group that was kind of lacking in the original. You know, like when Avalanche attacked, there were some people like, oh, Avalanche is bad, Avalanche is good. There was a few. But the way they've done it in this game, holy shit.
Like, Avalanche was just like a fraction of like a bit of the game anyways.
In fact, and then one thing they done is, you know, like in the game, Avalanche was just Jesse, Biggs, Wedge, Tifa, and Cloud. But in this game, fuck, I don't know if I should say this because this might be a spoiler.
Go ahead.
Okay. The Avalanche is a much bigger organization. There are different branches of Avalanche. You even run into one of them.
Wow, that's
different cells, yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, they really fleshed out a lot of things in that fucking game.
So Barrett was actually able to like get that many people on his side?
No, it's not. He's not the head of it, too. He's only the head of that cell.
Oh. Was he the head in the previous in the original?
Yes, he was. But Avalanche was old. The only way I took Avalanche was it was only really Biggs, Wedge, Jesse, Barrett, Tifa, and Cloud.
Yeah, same here.
But in this new one, there's different cells. Now, some cells will disassociate from other cells, but that's just how it is.
Wow. Do they actually get involved with the reactor, destroying reactors or anything? Huh. Okay.
Yep.
That's crazy. Okay. So, besides some of the story elements, how do you feel about the character designs and the gameplay elements?
I love the character designs. I like Tifa's new design. Let's see. I love Eric's new design. I love.
I like Barrett with the shades.
Yep, Barrett looks good. The character designs. What's cool about them is they're new, but they're still honing to the original, right?
Right.
Which has me excited because the one that will always look exactly the same is Red 13.
Who looks better than the fucking lions from Lion King?
Yep. Oh, fuck. Talk about a remake that we didn't need.
No, we did not. Fucking hate Disney and their fucking live action remakes.
Dude,
all of them.
Dude, I'll tell you this. Aladdin pissed me off. Why the fuck did they give Genie a love interest? Why? Why was that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it anything related to the love interest he had in the TV series, at least?
No.
Oh, well, fuck this noise then.
No. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to spoil this movie.
Go ahead.
I don't think... Yeah. You know how there's like in the beginning of the cartoon, there's that sneaky little thief telling the story?
Yeah.
Okay. It's him telling stories to children at the beginning, and it turns out it's his family. He had a family after the events of Aladdin. And it was a serving woman or something he fell in love with.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, Genie. I don't know about the cartoon. Maybe the cartoon did it better, the cartoon series. But
it's been forever since I've seen it. I remember liking it when I was a kid.
I'll check it out.
I remember the Rogues Gallery, and I did like King of Thieves. I thought it was a perfect cap to that series.
Yeah, You know what? I watched King of Thieves a couple months ago on Disney Plus, and it's fucking sick.
Yeah,
I liked it. Return of Jafar's okay. It's not horrible, but it's okay. But it's the weakest one.
True. That being said, I do like Jafar's song "You're Only Second Rate."
Oh yeah, yeah. Jafar's the best Disney villain.
Oh yeah, dude, he's amazing, and I assume he's a fucking bland bitch in the live action remake.
Oh, dude, he's a fucking pussy in the live action. He talks like this. Let's still up, guys. It's like, what the fuck? What happened to the deep voice motherfucker from the cartoon?
Here's the other thing. What about Iago? I actually really like him as an antagonist in that film.
Well, he turns him. One of the only few cool things is he turns him into a giant roach or rock or whatever those monsters.
A golem.
No, a roc. You know those giant birds from Arabian mythology?
Yeah.
Oh, and they took out the snake. They took out the fucking snake. I mean, that's the one thing I wanted to see. I didn't look up anything, but they took out the fucking snake. Come on. That fight was dope.
I'm so glad they fucking delayed the live action Mulan film because I don't think people should suffer more than they already have.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about the Mulan remake or what they took out. They took out all the musical numbers. They took out Eddie Murphy Dragon Kid and the cricket dude. They took out the general who trains Mulan because of #MeToo. That was their excuse, and I'm like, wow, you just took out the whole movie.
You took out the whole story.
You took out the musical numbers? I'm not big into Disney musicals, but I actually like I'll Make a Man Out of You, and I even like A Girl We're Fighting For because I like how it just mood shifts at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, God, whatever. Fuck this. Anyways, let's talk more about Final Fantasy VII because this is a gaming podcast after all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the Final Fantasy VII remake is good. I like also, you know what it has? You know what? You'll might like this. You know what the game reminds me of when you can go around and do missions? Honestly, you know what the game reminds me of now that Xander actually brought this up, I think. It's a lot like Yakuza.
Oh, because let me guess, there's side missions where you help out citizens in the town or something?
Yeah, and there's places where you could go for mini games and shit.
Yeah, it sounds like that. Maybe maybe a little bit of the Trails games, because there were missions like that too.
Yeah, and you know what too is the game's chapter by chapter, and just like Yakuza, some chapters lock you in to a certain location. But then you go back to more open world stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's more like Yakuza.
That's good inspiration.
Yeah, that's good inspiration.
Like I said, the only thing that I'm hopeful for the remake is I hope they have a more consistent like development. Well, it's probably not going to be that consistent nowadays, but as consistent as they can get it for their development schedule. Because I do want them to just consistently pump out the next parts. And like I said, I don't know how many parts are coming out. They haven't specified, but I hope it's no more than 3 or 4 parts.
Right.
Like
I think it's going to be 3 parts.
Yeah. You think part 2 is going to end with Aerith's death?
Probably.
Spoilers. I'm sorry.
Oh, what? You did I ever tell you this story?
No. What story?
I'll show you the screenshot. Xander was in a gaming group, and he mentioned the death of Aerith, and they got all pissed off at him for spoilers. Which that's like knowing that your princess is not in another fucking castle.
That's like that's like knowing that Rosebud is the sled, which I pissed off my film studies teacher when I gave that away out in class once.
That's like knowing Bruce Wayne is Batman, which was actually a plot twist in the very first Batman story ever told.
Or that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father.
Yeah, it's known. But they got mad at Xander, so what I did was I went in, and this guy's like, I just need someone to give me good reasons. So I gave him good reasons, but I spoiled the whole fucking game. Ouch. And I guess that group went on, still bitches about what I did last summer to that group.
Oh, man. Oh,
I was like, bro, get this. Cloud and Tifa and Aerith are in a love triangle. Bro. Sephiroth takes the black material. Just the holes.
Okay. I assume they actually have some gold saucer tier content then when you said there's mini games and shit.
It's not gold saucer, but there's like in Tifa's bar, you can play darts.
Well, when I say gold saucer tier, I mean similar to that kind of experience.
Yeah. And the motorcycle game comes in early on.
Oh man, I wonder how Chocobo Racing's going to be in the next part.
Yeah, because in this one, motorcycle comes. I've already ridden the motorcycle, and I'm not even at the part where motorcycle happens in the game, in the original.
Because I bring that up because one particular Final Fantasy VII moment with my brother and I is that he was doing the Chocobo races, and I think he was trying to get either a gold or a black Chocobo, but he couldn't get it. So every time he couldn't get it, I have to get up and hit the reset button on the PlayStation.
What?
And I did this like 30,000 fucking times.
Oh shit.
He's like, Billy, reset it. I didn't get it.
Oh no.
Reset it? Yeah.
I think this has been a good episode, my friend.
Yeah, this has been a pretty fun episode. I don't know what I want to talk about next week.
We'll figure
Not next week, next time.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We always do. Because we do pretty good damn podcasts.
Yep. So, you guys can find Magus on his YouTube channel, MagusX1. Stay in on my channel. I do a weekly live stream with another co-host, Jason Squiggleton, where we just talk about random shit known as We've Been Talking. It's mostly anime stuff, but now we just talk about whatever's on our mind. And I would occasionally post some anime reviews or some video game talks here and there, and stream some games as well.
Yep.
Like I said, I plan to put out my Zombieland Saga review and my High Score Girls Season 2 review.
That'll be it.
Yep. So with that, guys, this is Darkscream signing out.
And with that, guys,
take care, everybody.